Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and happy Thursday to you. We have got a lot to cover in this one. I just got into the studio and was going to push out the video for my deep dive analysis on Gaius, who just wrapped up, obviously, so a lot of people are going to be building him, but it looks like that is going to be pushed to this afternoon because we had a lot of news come down the road this morning. We had Plarium just kind of randomly add a new Barbarian champion, so we'll go over that. We have got the next Fragment champion being announced and teased, so we know what is going to be coming as the next event after the Gaius one that just finished up. We've got a 10x, we've got a guaranteed ancient event, so lots to cover as we head into this weekend, but I will keep you caught up and give you full context. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so first of all, let's cover the Shard event that is going to be this weekend. We know that we are going to be getting some sort of 10x probably because we just had a 2x event. So Plarium is being perfectly normal and to be expected with the 10x that is coming. The champions that are going to be launching this weekend for the 10x are going to be Sir Nick, Roshkar the Tower, Martyr, Underpriest Brogni, Warcaster, Demetha, Geomancer, and Venomage. So all in all, some pretty solid champions. I think it's a little bit better to go epic chasing on this one. Like for somebody that doesn't have Geomancer, would probably be good to maybe yank a couple shards during the 10x to acquire him. It's a little bit more realistic to get the epics in a 10x than the legendaries, obviously, especially when it's non-voids, because there's so many non-void legendaries. Your odds are still very low to acquire that specific legendary, and it is for epics too, but your odds of pulling epic champions is much higher than legendaries. And the landscape of shard pulling has really kind of changed in the last 3 or 4 months. We're getting fragment and infusion type events super often. We're getting all sorts of crazy events with guaranteed champions for every different affinity of legendary in the game. So you know, the opinions are starting to shift of when you should pull shards. I don't really recommend pulling shards for this 10x unless you are somebody that doesn't have a Geomancer, or if you don't have an unkillable comp, maybe pulling for Demetha might make a little bit of sense, because getting an unkillable comp unlocked on your account is a massive quality of life. So getting champions like Maneater and Demetha, stuff like that go in a lot of these different unkillable comps, can definitely be a quality of life thing for your account. But all in all, I mean, the legendaries, Sir Nick, he's a solid void Lego, but I wouldn't recommend YOLOing all your void shards to get him. You know, he's not like a Siphi or a Warlord or something like that. You know, Roshkar, Martyr are both decent. I would say Underpriest is probably the most generally useful one. He is definitely pretty solid. I don't know that I would YOLO, given the current shard environment we're experiencing in raid. I don't know that I would like go all in YOLOing for Underpriest. Now if it was a Duchess or something, maybe, but Underpriest definitely a very solid legendary. But all in all, like I said, for the 10x this weekend, I would just stick with kind of using it as an opportunity to chase after Geomancer or Demetha if you're a more progressing account that hasn't had them yet or unlocked some of the features that they enable for your account. But we are not just getting the 10x that you see right there. We are also going to be getting a guaranteed ancient event for a new champion that kind of blindsided us and just kind of hit us randomly for a new Barbarian champion. And that will be launching tomorrow as well. As you can see, if you scroll down a little bit right there, at the same time on Friday, May 6th till Monday, May 9th, we're launching a guaranteed champion event to give you the opportunity to get your hands on an amazing legendary champion, Rath Matab. So let's go over him and I will react to him live. I have not looked at his kit. That's how I like to do it on my channel. I like to get you an authentic first reaction to some of these new champions. So let's go ahead and go over that together. Okay, so first of all, my first impression is like Barbarians, I would have rather maybe had a champion kind of randomly get added like this for a new faction. Barbarians is one of the more accessible ones for people to clear in faction wars and stuff, especially since they added Syl to the game as a reward for the player base. So I would have preferred maybe a different, because you know we've got a lot of legendaries here, and we've had a lot of new ones. We've had Ursaga, Tuaneric, a Pardon. I don't think we really needed another new Barbarian. I would have probably preferred a different faction. But anyway, let's go over this guy's stats and kit. Looks like for the HP, just under 23k. That's pretty solid. It looks like he scales with HP, so okay. And then attack is going to be irrelevant on him if he scales his damage with HP. The defense is all right. The speed is maybe a little low. You'd like to see that even for a tanky champion be like 99 or so, but it's not horrible. It's not like 93 or something. Crit rate, crit damage. He's probably not going to be like a nuker, so all that's perfectly normal. And getting 60 for base resistance and accuracy is pretty solid. And based off seeing accuracy there, he probably places debuffs. So now let's see what the kit is. And I'm trying to guess really quick based on the icons. It's gonna be that's his weapon right there on the A1. Maybe some sort of increased skill cooldown or lock a champion out there with the A1. The A2, some sort of provoke. You got like charging bulls, which is typically like a matador. So maybe some sort of AoE provoke on the A2. And then the A3 is going to be some sort of team shield, team buff, but also looks like the shield is reflecting. So maybe like a reflect damage. And then the passive is going to be obviously some sort of self buff, it looks like, drawing in like a shield. So, okay, yeah, he's probably going to be provoking things while having a passive that like absorbs damage or increases the toughness of himself. And then it looks like the aura is going to be increased resistance. So now let's see how close I was here. Okay, A1. Attack one enemy, 50% chance of increasing the cooldown of one of the target skills by 2 turns at random. The chance increases by... Okay, I like that. That's a pretty solid A1. Anytime you get any sort of buff manipulation or CC, anything like that on an A1, turn meter manipulation, it's going to be a welcomed addition to that ability. So pretty solid so far. I do like the value of the A1. Hey, and there we go. AoE provoke. We've got attack all enemies. We can book it up to 100% chance of placing provoke for 1 turn, but also get a block damage on this champion for 1 turn. So yeah, we're gonna place a provoke and then also give this champion an ability to mitigate a lot of that damage, or all of it actually, if they don't ignore the block damage mechanic. And then come on, let me go 3 for 3 so far. Increase. Hey, okay, there's reflect damage. I thought it might have a shield as well, but it looks like I was right on the reflect damage part. But we've got increased resistance and a 30% reflect damage buff on all allies. Increased resistance is super handy. Resistance is kind of aging well. It's becoming more and more valuable as the game progresses here, and it's a super amazing ability for any defensive team here to increase the resistance and then also reflect some of that damage to help you kind of take those teams down. Okay, and now I was hoping this would be like a self buff or something. This champion's resistance is increased by 50 whenever their active skills are not on cooldown. Okay, so I kind of whiffed on that one, but that one was kind of a tough one to predict based on the picture here. But all in all, it went like yeah, I got it like half right on trying to predict the kit here based on the pictures. So I'll take that. We got into by 50 whenever active skills are not on cooldown. So active skills are not on cooldown. So that's gonna be like your A2 and your A3. So basically, like before you get a turn, like before you've done anything, if you're on a defensive team, you're gonna get a big bump to your resistance to be able to absorb kind of what the enemy is doing to you and kind of help you mitigate that so that he can get his turn off and maybe not get CC'd or something. Maybe be able to go like the high resistance route instead of having to build for like immunity or something. So all in all, what do I think? I mean, he's solid. Like, do I see something that's like ridiculous? No. Do I think he's gonna be some sort of a Duchess or a Kymar or one of these insanely sought after champions? Probably not. I would give this like a B. I mean, he's got some cool stuff going on. It's not like he's trash. I do like increased resistance. That's not super available in the game. And he's very sturdy. And I love the A1 with some CC to it. But it is a 50% chance. Yeah, I mean, he does have AoE CC and lots of mitigation, resistance. Yeah, I mean, I think he's like a B. Do I think he's worth YOLOing 120 Ancients to get after the guarantee? I'm a little on the fence on that. I'm gonna have to really kind of weigh my options and see. We'll kind of have to just like discuss it on stream and kind of see what kind of teams he would slot in on my account. My first impression is probably not, just for my account specifically. I don't really see the gain here. Like, he wouldn't make any of my Hydra teams that much better, which is kind of what I'm looking for the most. Is like, yeah, I've already finished Faction Wars, so like tag team, arena, and Hydra, stuff like that. I don't know that he would slot into any of of those teams. He'd be decent in Tag Team Arena, but I'm not sure he would fill in as a consistent starter in those areas. So let me know what you think. All in all, I think he's decent, just not like amazing. I would give it like a B. But that is not all. We've got another Fragment event coming right out the gate. Plarium is really slamming these out at record pace. So last year they did 13 Fragment slash Fusion events for the whole year. It looks like this year they're trying to bump that up to like 16 to 18. I mean, they are ramping up the at a pace a little bit faster than it was last year at right around once a month. Now it's like every 2 or 3 weeks, it seems like. We're slamming these out. So anyway, again, the same thing for Sacred Order. Like, we already have a lot of legendaries in Sacred Order. I would have maybe gone with a different faction, maybe one that people struggle with a little bit more in Faction Wars. We've got Archbishop and Cardio and Constantin and Glissy and Halsring. Lots of new legendaries as well. Astralon, semi-new. So maybe would have picked a different faction, but let's go over this guy live because it's going to be a Fragment event starting heading into next weekend, exactly 1 week from today, next Thursday on May 12th. And same thing, I have not looked at this champion yet. I've got it pulled up, but I haven't actually read the words. I'm going to give you an authentic first reaction here. We've got Bivald of the Thorn, another HP champion, Spirit Affinity, okay. Attack one enemy with a 30% chance. You could probably book that up to like a 50 of placing a Provoke on them, okay. Heal the ally with the lowest HP by 15% of damage inflicted. Okay, that can be a little bit weak on a single hitter unless it's got some awesome multiplier. The Provoke debuff can be placed even... oh, okay, we've got more mechanics to provide a debuff on a weak hit similar to Contra the Cyclone. So, okay, I like that. The A2, attack all enemies 2 times. That's rare, so that's pretty cool. The first hit, 75% chance. You could probably book it up to 100 of placing a Provoke for 1 turn. The second hit, we'll place a Leech. So we got AoE, Provoke, and Leech. Also strengthen on this champion for 2 turns. The Leech and Provoke debuffs can be placed even if this attack lands as weak hits. So okay, so he's basically going to place debuffs even on weak hits to be a little bit more generally useful even versus those Magic Affinity champions. So okay, then we got another AoE. Damage increases by 5% for each debuff on each enemy. Each debuff on each enemy, so not just his. So if you got a bunch of poisons or something, you could really stack that up. I wonder if this maxes out. Also heals all allies by 20% of the damage inflicted and places a shield on them for 2 turns, equal to 20% of damage inflicted. That would be incredible for spider progression. If you're trying to build like a slower spider team just to kind of grind the levels, and as your first introduction to progressing in that dungeon, that would be, you see champions like Miscreated Monsters, Sir Nicholas and stuff for the massive shields by hitting all the spiderlings, and that would be in that same vein, being amazing there. A passive of decrease the damage taken by all allies from enemies under Provoke by 15%. I mean, if they're under a Provoke, they're already doing their yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's okay, but I don't know how amazing that is. And then increase all ally HP 28%. We don't usually see that. It's usually like 25 or 33. So pretty interesting. But all ally HP and by 28% is pretty decent. So all right, how do I feel about my first reaction? My gut reaction, honestly, is a little bit meh. You know, I just don't see enough here that's like special or interesting or new. I do like the shielding ability here on the AoE to help new players progress, and it looks like it's going to be a 3-turn cooldown and a 4-turn cooldown. If we get 1 cooldown on each, but if it gets to a 3-3, that'd be pretty solid. Like if this books down 2 from 5 to 3. He could be pretty solid with the multiple AoEs on a 3-turn cooldown with the constant provokes, the leech, and shielding for the whole team. I think he'd be a pretty solid progression champion for anybody that's kind of early game, mid game, maybe hasn't finished Faction Wars yet and they're still really progressing through the game. I do think he would be a solid addition to the roster. For an end game player, I don't know how hyped they would be to acquire this guy. So my first reaction kind of leans a little bit towards the meh side, and I would go with like a B- or so. It doesn't seem like he's trash, like a D or anything. He would definitely have some utility for some accounts out there, but I do think they could show him a little bit of love and make him a little bit better. But unfortunately, we are missing a lot of key information like the base stats and knowing exactly what the books and cooldowns kind of end up being. So maybe he'll end up bumping up to like a B+ if some of that stuff really stands out as super high. So now for a quick game wrap up, just so you know kind of what to expect here for the next few days. We did have an off week this week for CVC, so make sure you're getting ready for CVC, which 99% likelihood is going to be coming up here in a few days on Tuesday as we head into early next week. So prepare your books and all that stuff according to double dip and get a bunch of points for CVC for your team, get your tag team arena in order and all that good stuff. As far as playing the game this weekend, you know, it's kind of going to be a calm before the storm. We're going to be launching right into a new Fragment event on Thursday. So nothing wrong with kind of taking a step back and relaxing a little bit and getting ready for CVC to be going on. But obviously, if you're spending your energy in game right now, you'd want to be focusing on like the Fire Night tournament and getting some of these rewards on the right. Fire Night is never a bad area to grind, but everything's going to be mostly par for the course for the next few days and just kind of preparing your account for CVC and the Fragment event coming up. We do have the Summon Rush event here that is going to be coinciding with the 10X and the guaranteed stuff that is going on with the Legendary, which I think all that is going to be wildly dependent on where your account is right now, your spending tier, and how you kind of play the game on if you're going to be pulling for maybe some of those epics like Demetha or Geomancer, or if you're going to decide that you want to YOLO for the 120 Ancient Shard new Barbarian that is out there. Is going to be wildly dependent on the player. Now let's head into the shop and see what we've got going on here. So let's put in, we got 30. It's going to be a Doom Tower kit, purchase limit of 2. I don't know if this is going to be worth 30. Let's plug it in and see how it grades. We've got 1.5 million. Okay, no energy. We're going to do 300 gems. And then we're going to get 3 of each book, epic and legendary. And then 5 of the 3-star chickens. So boom, a 1.69. That is not going to be a recommend from me. I think that should be like $20 or something, and even then it would be a little bit iffy. But for a high spender that needs some legendary books, worth noting they're not super common in offers. But for most of you out there, that would be a pass from me. And it looks like we've also got an energy pack string. And whenever it comes to going over these pack strings, I always love to go to my good friend Smiley, who I talk to a lot behind the scenes and work on different stuff with him. If you have not followed this guy on Twitter, you definitely want to do so. I'll link to his Twitter down below. He always does a great job of breaking down these string offers, and over the past years has been collecting data on these different progression packs and stuff like that. And he actually takes the time to break it down on Twitter. So for any Rage of the Legends player, he is an amazing go-to resource for this, where you can kind of see the breakdown here. So on the special progress pack, I mean, typically the energy one is okay. It's not as trash as like the sacred packs or anything. But Smiley here on this one is saying a below average deal unless you're desperate for energy. And I would tend to agree on this progress pack. The last time I plugged it in my offer calculator, it was like a 1.7 or something. So yeah, it wouldn't really be like a super recommend from me. But I just wanted to shout out my good friend Smiley, because he does a lot of really good stuff, especially with offers. So if you're interested in those type of breakdowns, I'm going to link to that down below so you can check that out. So alrighty, boom, lots to get covered this morning, and lots of stuff going on in Raid constantly at this point. So let me know down below how you feel about this stuff, where you agree with me, where you disagree with me. And I'm also going to head over to stream if you would like to stop by and say hi, and we can touch base and talk about some of the stuff going on in game, and talk about if you're going to be pulling or not for the guaranteed Lego, or pulling for any of those epics or anything this weekend for the 10X. So if you would like to join me over there, I'll link down below in the pinned comment indicating whether I am still live or not. But otherwise, have a great rest of your Thursday, and hopefully this afternoon I'm going to try to push out the deep dive for Gaius. These champions are coming at us faster than we can kind of keep up with, but I promise I will get that out very soon. It's basically ready to go, some final touches, and I'm going to send it out for those of you that are building Gaius soon, today or tomorrow, or anytime in the future. But that does it for me on this one. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching. Peace.